I want to shock people. I want to scare them with this guy's face. Jim Jordan, regularly one of the worst members of our elected government, had this to say about the ongoing attempts to limit the number needlessly dying during this pandemic. He tweeted, 60 million Americans are subject to a stay-at-home order or curfew. 11 million are right here in Ohio. What would the founders say? So we're going to have a little bit of what the founders might have said. But first, can we just acknowledge, this is December 29th when he sent that. We're losing a 9/11 a day, okay? And the aid has been severely limited, thanks in no small part to a senator from his own party. And his contribution to the national dialogue about this is they're making people stay at home still, like 11 months into this pandemic or whatever. Like, we're way into this pandemic, and that is what Jim Jordan has to say.
You know what? One of the founding fathers would say if they heard that we're staying in, they go, wow, what are these things moving around? What's that you're looking at? Why do you have this thing in your hand? Wow, would you guys wear clothes like that now? Man, look at the way you wear your hair. Oh my God, you guys live in buildings this big? That's what founding fathers would say if they found out what was going on right now.
Yeah, I think the founding fathers would have said, wait, who was the last president? Yeah, they were not that great necessarily. So let's stop just needlessly worshiping them. Huh? But here's what they might have said, because you know what they had back in the day? Now, yes, they didn't have AR-15s, they didn't have cars, they didn't have black presidents, but what they did have was infectious disease. And so critics responded to Jim Jordan by pointing out that the founders had, in fact, followed strict measures to stifle infectious disease outbreaks based on the science of their time. During the American Revolution, for instance, George Washington worked to contain a smallpox epidemic by isolating anyone suspected of infection and limiting outside contact with his army. In 1776, when the British withdrew from Boston, Washington mandated that only soldiers that had already been infected be allowed into the city. In 1796, in response to a deadly yellow fever outbreak, Congress passed the first federal quarantine law, which was signed by Washington. It authorized the federal government to help states enforce quarantines as necessary. So this isn't like, hey guys, could you like socially distance and maybe occasionally get tested or whatever? This is, if I think you might have been infected, I'm going to have the military stop you from traveling.
Those socialist bastards. They're just like Venezuela. They want to take over your life. They want to put you in the house. You know, those founding fathers, you know, their whole story was hidden from us somehow. We didn't know about this. So first of all, I thought about this and I was like, you know, I'm not a scholar on the founding fathers. I don't know everything each one of them did. But if I'm going to tweet about what the founding fathers would have said or done in a certain situation, and maybe I have an assumption of what they would have said or done, I'm going to do a cursory search and go, well, maybe what they did say or do in a potentially similar situation. Because what I do know, and I don't know if this is hard to remember, there was lots of diseases that were spread back in the day easily and took out millions of people. It happened. So since we do know that did happen, it'd be a nice search before you tweet and go, how did they respond to it? Because what I would like to say, because I would think the founding fathers are on my side, if I was as dumb as Jim Jordan thought this, was, yeah, you know what the founding fathers said when the pandemic hit? I'll be able to say what they said and did, because I looked it up.
Are you implying that before making a political statement, you have some sort of obligation to try to answer your own question rather than just putting it out there needlessly? Are you implying that we should not all follow the Charlie Kirk school of tweeting? Ask a dumb question, receive a bunch of dumb responses, but it doesn't matter because you're getting paid by billionaires. Like, this is the thing. I'm a dumb lefty, and I grew up watching Star Trek. So for the entirety of my life, I've wanted people to be better and smarter. And I think it's great that on the internet, you have access to all this information. So you'd think I want people to ask questions, but I'm done with questions because questions are all too often just used to put off having to learn anything. Like, why is every question rhetorical? Like, what would the founders have said? Google it, you goon. Like, you could find out. It's not impossible. You don't have to go visit the Oracle. You could literally boot up Oracle. Isn't that a browser? You could find out for yourself if you wanted to. Why are people asking dumb... This is a small tangent. On Reddit, people ask the dumbest questions, man, that have been asked a million times. You could just search for it. It's quicker to search for the answer than to post the question yourself. Why does everyone act like they have no independent ability to gain knowledge? We all can do it, damn it.
Well, that's the thing. No. He's at least practicing what he preaches. He just definitely doesn't want people that follow him to gain any knowledge because then they'll understand how dumb he is and how much he purposely misguides them, honestly. I don't know exactly how dumb Jim Jordan is, but he's definitely playing the role for the sake of fooling other people to not thinking for themselves, or at least not looking up the most general, basic information. Yeah. That's the power he's got, is making sure that people stay dumb and then follow him.
Oh, God, I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it. And you know what's even worse? On top of all of that, this weird pet peeve is, it's that the most gullible, stupidest people in our country, which I will define as the people who believe QAnon, which is, in the most recent poll, 17% say they believe it, 37% say they're not sure. So there are more of them than there are of us, so bear that in mind. It's that they're not just satisfied with believing crazy things. At the same time, they have to claim that they're the ones who are actually critically thinking. They're the ones who are actually doing their own research. They're the ones who are asking the tough questions. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're doing some dark mirror universe version of gaining knowledge. They're the only people that can do research and get dumber. Like an exact 1-to-1 ratio. The more words they read, the crazier they get. I think Cthulhu exists. I think his cult believes in Q. Anyway, Cthulhu. Let's get that drawn.